10 years after his death, cities around Africa still celebrate the works of Ousman Sembene, a self-taught Senegalese filmmaker. TVC News' Ola Awako tells us about how close to 40 African nations screened a documentary film about the father of African cinema.
Here lies the remains of Ousman Sembene, but in the minds of many lovers of African stories, it lives on. He was considered as father of African cinema. Sembene, the son of a fisherman, taught himself to write after working as a laborer for 25 years. He was internationally known for his novel, God's Bits of Wood. He started out in film when Africans were not allowed to have cameras to film. Sembene spent 50 years writing books and making films, recognized in the US and Europe, but remains largely unknown among audiences on the continent he dedicated most of his life to.
I think it is Sembene's message actually that made him the father of African cinema. He is not the first sub-Saharan African to pick up a camera. It was Pauline Soumanu Vieira, a Senegalese filmmaker who did that in 1957, but Sembene started shooting in 1962. All of his films have one theme: to promote change in Africa.
Promouvoir le changement en Afrique.
His 2004 film on female genital mutilation, Molade, has been acclaimed as story of the heroism and resilience of African women. Screenings were done across Kenya's capital, Nairobi, Ouagadougou, Conakry, Kampala, and various other locations.
I was distressed that as a country, Kenyans don't seem to be interested in Sembene Ousman. Yet we know everything about Game of Thrones and Blacklist and stuff like that. So it was first of all very discouraging and frustrating for me. Also, I had not known much about Sembene Ousman as a filmmaker. I happened to have studied his book, God's Bits of Wood, in high school for my literature. And it was an amazing book, but I did not know any of his works in his story as a filmmaker. So this was an opportunity for me to get to know more about it as well.
As is with all great artists in our time or even the past, Bob Marley, Fela Kuti, as in I believe if you really do believe in your craft or if you really love your craft, you really have to be a rebel to fight against all odds and obstacles that will prevent you to actually see it through. And that's who Sembene was, or rather is to me right now.
One of his highly controversial films was Camp de Thiaroye, a war drama about the humiliation and massacre of West African soldiers who returned from fighting for the French in World War II to a detention camp and without pay. The film was banned in France for 10 years after it was released in 1988.
For us, it is a duty to his memory that calls out to us, whether we are filmmakers, writers, painters, or political figures. I think it is time for re-examination and that we realize that there is no culture without history. There is no continuation without remembrance.
Sembene used his films and books to fiercely challenge injustice, corruption, and to tell the stories of everyday heroes and self-empowerment. He died in 2007 at the age of 84. Ola Awako, TVC News.